You know what's crazy? Most people think remote work is dead in 2025. Google Trends disagrees though, and my team and I look at major companies that are absolutely begging to hire remote workers right now. And I'm not talking about any of these sketchy jobs or the make $5,000 a week from your phone scams. These are legitimate Fortune 500 companies offering real remote positions with real benefits. And most importantly, real salaries ranging from $60,000 to $150,000 a year. And the craziest part is some of these positions require barely any experience. Now, before we dive in, let me be straight with you. My team and I spent weeks researching these companies. We analyzed their job boards, reading thousands of employee reviews, and even looking for real-life people who actually worked there. Why? Because I'm tired of seeing outdated information about remote work opportunities. Just a few years ago, I was in the medical profession trying to find remote work myself because I didn't want to be chained to a physical location with no flexibility and no freedom. And then I was able to start working remotely, and my life completely changed after that. And I've been able to travel the world and literally live my dream life. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping other people find legitimate remote work opportunities. And in this video, I'm going to show you which major companies are always hiring remote workers. I'm also going to talk about some of the positions they're looking to fill, real salary ranges that you can expect, and most importantly, how to actually land these jobs. So if you're serious about finding a remote job in 2025, hit that like button right now. It helps more people find this information. And honestly, these companies need more qualified candidates. So let's dive into number one on our list, which is Thomson Reuters. Now, you know what's interesting about lawyers? They're some of the highest paid professionals in the world.
Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for Johnny?
Yet most of them are absolutely miserable working 80-hour weeks. But what if I told you that there's a way to work in the legal industry without going to law school and do it completely from home? Well, that's where this company comes in. You can think of them almost like the Google of the legal world. They're the company behind Westlaw, the platform that literally every lawyer depends on. And they're constantly hiring remote workers. Now here's where it gets interesting. Let me share something I found from a current employee on Glassdoor. A product support representative who's been there for over 3 years said it's a very comfortable environment and welcoming work culture. Plus there's good work-life balance other than peak season. But here's what really caught my attention. They're actually hiring for roles that require minimal experience right now. For instance, customer support analyst. It's fully remote, and they say that you only need about 2 years of experience, but if you are one of my students or you've been paying attention to the channel, this is a green light to apply even at an entry level. Basically, every company says that. However, they end up hiring people all the time for these entry-level roles. And it's also relatively easy to generate experience with the methods that I talk about as well. With that being said, it would help if you had a little bit of experience. Something even as simple as transcribing legal documents will get your foot in the door. And the salary range is $70,000 to $130,000 a year. And that's just one position. They also have a legal solutions consultant. They say that there's only 1 year of experience needed. Again, I talk about other jobs you can get into, such as legal transcription on this channel, and that would count as legal experience. And it pays $77,000 to $143,000 a year. Plus, there's a full benefits package. Now, you might be thinking, what the heck is the catch? Well, according to their Glassdoor reviews, the only real downside is that moving up within the company seems to be somewhat difficult unless new products are constantly learned. But that doesn't matter all that much because in today's job market, the fastest way to increase your salary is typically by switching companies every 2 to 3 years anyways. And this is especially true in the US market. Now, the most important thing is getting your foot in the door with a reputable company, such as Thomson Reuters, and then your career will go on an upward trajectory from there. And by the way, I have a guide that shows you exactly how to land these types of jobs, especially the ones that require experience for an entry-level position or a bit close to entry-level position. I actually made an entire guide on exactly how to land those jobs. Check it out. It'll be in the description and the pinned comment below. Now let's talk about another amazing opportunity. BD or Becton Dickinson and Company. Now here's a question that might surprise you. What do COVID test kits, insulin needles, and hospital supplies have in common? Well, they're all made by one company that most people have never even heard of, but is desperately hiring remote workers right now. Meet BD or Becton Dickinson and Company. They have over 60,000 employees worldwide. They're basically the Amazon of medical supplies, and they're making a massive push towards remote work. Now let me break down what actual employees are saying about working here. The good benefits and cultural values is mentioned in nearly 400 reviews. Over 350 employees praise the great people to work with, and 235 reviews specifically highlight work-life balance is good. Plus 165 people mention very flexible and good pay. But let's keep it real. There are some challenges. 223 employees mention poor management lies and politics. 223 people mention poor management. And there's also annual layoffs at the fiscal year end. Some note that there's not much leadership or vision. However, here's why that shouldn't stop you. Their remote positions are absolutely on fire right now. Let's look at their customer service representative. They only need 1 year of experience, which again, if you don't have 1 year of experience, you can still apply. It's very easy to generate this experience, which I've talked about many times on the channel. And their starting pay is $13.70 to $21.20 per hour. Plus there's full benefits package, including tuition reimbursement. But here's what really excites me. Their inside sales representative position. And it's perfect for recent graduates, especially if you got a science-related degree. And there are a lot of science graduates, unfortunately, that have a lot of trouble finding a job. And as someone who worked in healthcare for years, I actually got a doctorate. I can tell you that medical devices will always be in demand. People will always need healthcare, and this industry is not going anywhere. And here's my take. If you can handle some corporate politics, show me a company that doesn't have that, in exchange for benefits, 399 reviews confirm this, great work-life balance, 235 people can't be wrong, and flexible remote work, job security, and healthcare, then BD might be your ticket to remote work freedom. So this is especially good for people who have any sort of healthcare-related experience, paid or not, or people who got a science-related degree. Next is Cox Enterprises, and this is a cable company that is hiring remote workers. And this isn't just your average cable company anymore. They're a $20 billion tech powerhouse, and they're revolutionizing mobility and sustainability. And here's what makes them really interesting. The reviews paint an interesting picture. People on Glassdoor are saying things like benefits are great and the company is financially sound. And they're also saying things like the networking and people are great. Plus they're saying great culture and environment. But here's where it gets real. Some employees mention upper management routinely makes cutbacks. And there's also massive layoffs and outsourcing. But here's why we put this in the video. Now is actually a very good time to apply. For instance, they're actively hiring for this completely remote mobile billing specialist position. No degree required. They say 3 years of experience. However, this is another one of those jobs where you can easily get that experience or generate it. And they pay $19.57 to $29.38 per hour. That's about $61,000 a year to work from your couch. Not bad. But Shane, what about job security? Well, here's the thing. Cox has been around for over 125 years. They survived the Great Depression, 2 world wars, and every recession since. So if you do a good job, it's probably going to be a pretty stable company to work for. And overall, they have a lot of good reviews. Now, by the way, if you want to look into certificates that are extremely affordable, way cheaper than a college degree, which is like $100,000, or a boot camp, which is like $10,000 to $30,000, definitely check out my recommended certificates for landing these types of jobs. I'll put those down in the description and the pinned comment below. This is basically a master list of certificates that I have recommended to people and I really like myself, and people have actually landed jobs with them. So definitely check those out. Next is going to be Samsara. And let me tell you about the company that might be putting Tesla's autopilot to shame. And you might not have heard of them, but every major fleet company in the United States at least has. They're the company that's making AI that keeps truck drivers from falling asleep at the wheel. They're also building tech that saves lives, and they're growing like crazy. And let me do something different here. Instead of me just telling you how great they are, let's listen to what the employees say. On Glassdoor, they say it's the best in the industry and great culture. 108 people said this. They also said great benefits and always adding more. 103 people said this. And then they say great people and set up for your success personally and as a team. 100 people confirmed this. However, there's always negative reviews, and I always like to show the good and the bad. I would recommend looking at this yourself. Some employees mentioned management is clueless. They also mentioned the layoffs due to the pandemic in 2020 were rough. But here's why this is actually good news for you. They're hiring for this insane position right now. It's account executive, mid-market, fully remote, and only 2 years of experience are required. Now, account executive is a sales related position. And so if you did 2 years in sales, which could have just been working at a store and then recommending things to people once in a while, or other types of related experience, which again, I cover how to generate experience on this channel, then you could get this position, or you could even get a lower level sales position because they're also advertising those. But this position pays $136,000 to $170,000 a year. And then there's also an enterprise account executive. They pay about $126,000 to $170,000 a year. And they're always hiring for the lower level sales positions as well, if you just want to start out. So yeah, it's a cool company that's actually making the world a better place, and they pay really well. So definitely check it out. Next is the Adecco Group. And you want to know a secret about billion-dollar companies? Most of them don't hire their own employees. They outsource it to one company that nobody talks about. And that company is the Adecco Group. And this is the world's largest staffing firm. And ironically, they're desperate for their own employees right now. Think about it. The company that helps other companies hire people needs help hiring people. And here's something interesting. Let me share a recent review from a marketing manager in Jacksonville. They gave the company 5 out of 5 stars and said lots of PTO, good work-life balance. The only downside they mentioned is that the Jacksonville headquarters closed a few years ago. But that's actually not a big deal because a lot of the people they're hiring are remote. For instance, check out this latest position, a paid media and affiliate manager. It's 100% remote and it pays $70,000 to $95,000 base salary. And there's another position, subject matter expert, and it's fully remote and you can work from any of these countries, US, Canada, UK, Australia, Singapore, and they say that only 2 years of experience is needed. And this is really good if you currently have a certain expertise, right? So I transitioned from pharmacy and I had a certain expertise in pharmacy. And a lot of the time companies will hire these subject matter experts that have expertise in certain areas. So if you're one of those people that has expertise in certain areas, definitely look at subject matter expert jobs. All right, next is going to be Danaher. And if you ever wondered who actually makes the machines that make everything else, not the final product, but the actual technology that makes our technology possible, well, meet Danaher. This is a company you've probably never heard of that's behind virtually every medical breakthrough of the last decade. Okay, not everyone, but a lot of them. And besides the fact that it seems like a company that is making a huge impact, the employees actually really like working there. The benefits are good, for instance, 39 employees agree. It's a great learning place, 34 people agreed. And it's actually a very good culture, 31 people agreed. Plus there's good pay and ability to earn, 22 employees back this up. And overall, the pros outweigh the cons. And they're offering these insane remote positions right now. For instance, applications developer intern, it's a fully remote position that's perfect for students or people trying to get their first job. And they're also hiring sales related positions such as account manager. This pays about $95,000 to $115,000 base salary plus bonuses. And you really only need a technical sales background. And as someone who worked in healthcare, I can tell you that Danaher technology is everywhere. Probably every lab I worked in, every hospital I visited, their equipment was there. And here's my take. Work-life balance might be tough at times, but you're working for a company that's literally saving lives. And you get to do it from home. Not bad. Definitely one to check out. Next is Essentra Health. And this is of course a healthcare company, but employees had really good things to say about it when we researched it. So for instance, this project manager's been there for 3 years, and they wrote that without a doubt, this is the best company I've ever worked for. But wait, it gets better. They went on to say people are treated respectfully and there are great benefits, excellent company culture, and good work-life balance. And the cons, well, nothing comes to mind. No job is perfect, but Essentra is pretty darn close. Now, their only complaint was they said that they want more opportunities for internal growth. And right now they are hiring for these remote positions. For instance, quality improvement specialist. It's fully remote and you make $49,000 to $78,000 a year. Plus you only need 3 years of experience. Now, a pro tip for this one is to get a Lean Six Sigma certification because they say that they prefer it for this position. But they did say that they'll help you get it if you don't have it. But check this out. Treasury analyst position is 100% remote and it makes about $67,000 annually. And they have really good benefits. For instance, I saw that they actually pay you for 8 hours of paid volunteer time annually. So they're paying you to help your community out, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, definitely a good one to check out. All right, next is Pinterest. And this is a company that's probably really well known by a lot of people out there, especially the women watching this channel. And basically there's a position that opened up where you can get paid $9,000 a month to kind of like scroll through Pinterest and just make sure that everything is good. And the Glassdoor reviews for Pinterest are actually quite good. Position they're hiring for is an SDET2 position. And basically it's all about QA, which is quality assurance, making sure that the website is working well. Now, quality assurance jobs are relatively easy to land even at a pretty entry level. However, if you want to skill up for quality assurance, I do have some recommendations in the certificate list, which again, I'll put down in the description in the pinned comment below. And if you're a student with technical skills, here's something that might shock you. Their IT data engineer intern position pays between $7,500 and $9,000 monthly. Now, I know what you're thinking, that can't be real. But here's the thing. Major tech companies like Pinterest, Google, and Meta actually do pay these rates for technical internships. Why? Because they're competing for top technical talent. And let me be completely transparent here. These roles aren't your typical internships. You do need strong programming skills. However, you can learn programming online. And these salaries are often in a high cost of living area such as San Francisco or New York. But there might be some roles that pay a little bit less, but they can be done remotely, which is actually going to net you a higher salary overall when you take into account expenses. And Pinterest isn't just hiring interns. They have plenty of other remote positions that are more accessible as well. So yeah, really good opportunity. Definitely check it out. Next is NBC Universal. And remember when TV networks said that streaming would never work? Yeah, about that. Well, NBC Universal isn't just playing catch up anymore. They're going all in on digital and they're hiring remote workers like crazy. And let me share 2 recent employee reviews that tell the whole story. A recent events coordinator in New York wrote, "People and pay are great. The only downside is the commute can be difficult. But the thing is, NBC Universal are opening their doors for remote work." Intern who just finished their program said, "Great teams, learning opportunities, and the ability to truly contribute to the company." And they couldn't think of a single complaint. Now here's where it gets interesting. They just started dropping a bunch of remote positions. For instance, product specialist. It's 100% remote and it's an $80,000 to $100,000 salary. And you only need 1 year of experience. Plus there's a full benefits package. And that's not even the best part. There's a clearance analyst position at DreamWorks Animation. it's fully remote, and it's $62,000 to $75,000 per year. Plus, you're working for a company that owns Universal Studios, and it makes blockbuster movies. Plus, it creates hit TV shows and is leading the streaming revolution. So yeah, they're crushing it. Now, by the way, I did make another video on 7 companies that hire remote workers worldwide. Definitely check it out. It'll be right here.